Jackson Wang was born in Hong Kong on March 28, 1994. Jackson was born into a very successful family, with his father, Wang Ruiji, once being in the Chinese national fencing team, who competed in the 1984 and 1988 Summer Olympics, and his mother, Sophia Chow, being a world-class gymnast. Unsurprisingly, this sporty influence had a profound impact on Jackson, and he himself would also be very good at sports. This passion for sports and fencing in particular would lead Jackson to become a fencer for Hong Kong's official junior fencing team at the age of 16. Jackson was such a talented fencer that in 2010 he competed in the Summer Youth Olympics.
Jackson Wang, 2010 Singapore Youth Olympic Games exclusively on Young Coast.
This led to Jackson even being noticed by Stanford University, who offered the fencing prodigy a generous scholarship and an invite to the university's own fencing team. However, while Jackson was winning praise for his fencing accolades, behind the scenes, Jackson had another love. A love that was beginning to take hold of him and would allow him to pursue a totally different direction in life. Music. Music had always played a crucial role in the artist's life, to the extent that he would often listen to his favorite tracks before a big tournament, to hype himself up. "See, this is the thing about music. It changes my emotion from time to time," Wang told Forbes magazine in 2020. This love for music would lead Jackson to one day tell his dad that he wanted to give everything up and pursue a career in music. Jackson's parents initially thought he was kidding and were apprehensive of the entertainment industry and the repercussions it could have on Jackson's career, with his father even saying, "This is the worst decision you will ever make." Luckily for Jackson's parents, Jackson was not just talented at sports but also music, and while he had a lot to prove, he was passionate about music enough to take it seriously and move to South Korea in 2011. While at school, after finishing an exam and having a game of basketball with friends, Jackson was approached by a casting team who invited him to audition for music label JYP. After auditioning for JYP, Jackson was accepted at the label and began training intensely, learning how to sing, rap, and dance. While Jackson was accepted at JYP, he had to go through routine evaluations that would cause massive stress to the young rapper. "The trainee days are full of eliminations every day. People can get in fast, and they can get out fast," Jackson told Big Boy TV in 2019. Jackson was a foreigner in Korea. Among 50 other trainees, he knew he could get eliminated at any time if he slipped up and made one mistake. If he failed, he knew he couldn't return to Hong Kong and rejoin the Hong Kong fencing team. This was it. Now or never. Jackson was feeling the heat and was feeling insecure amongst some serious talent. Everyone there was either a good singer, dancer, or good actor. They got their weapon, you know? "I was an athlete. I can't do this on stage," he said in 2019. Being a foreigner in Korea also was a challenge for Jackson. Korean was a language he had to learn from scratch. Jackson immersed himself into Korean culture, studying the language intensely for a year, primarily using books. However, Jackson found better luck learning the language by going on dates and speaking Korean with his fellow trainees. After training day after day for 2.5 years, with most of the trainees already eliminated, Jackson made it to the final 7, and was told that he would be debuting in a boy group called GOT7. GOT7 made their debut in 2014, with their first EP titled Got It, immediately blowing up on the Billboard World Albums chart and hitting #1. This success catapulted the young idol to stardom. However, Jackson knew if he was going to stand out in the Korean entertainment industry, as a foreigner, he needed to become popular on variety shows. Fortunately, Jackson has a very outgoing personality and amazing sense of humor, and it would be Jackson's character that would win over the fans on shows such as Law of the Jungle, Weekly Idol, and Roommate, which would allow him to establish himself as a serious player in the K-pop industry. Jackson became very successful doing variety shows in Korea, making a household name for himself as a TV star and comedian. However, Jackson didn't want people to only see him as a variety show star, but also to take him seriously as an artist. "I had too much variety shows. It almost got to a point where I thought, people, they're not taking me seriously," he told Forbes. To re-establish himself as a serious artist, the rapper created his own brand, Team Wang, in 2017. A record label that focuses on music, production, and artist management. After the creation of Team Wang, Jackson began spending his time in both Korea and in China, where he developed a solo career. Jackson was proud of the success he had made with GOT7, but also wanted to create his own image, his own brand of music. He was finally able to do this with Team Wang. while also being a member of GOT7. In 2017, he released Papillon as the first release under his own label. Papillon proved to be a massive hit in China, reaching number 1 on China's music streaming platform, QQ Music, for 5 days straight. Jackson was not only an established artist in the K-pop industry, but now also a household name in China. But this wasn't it for the rapper. 2 years later, Jackson would release his first English album, Mirrors, which debuted at number 32 on the Billboard 200 for a week in November 2019. This would make Jackson's Mirrors the highest charting debut album ever for a Chinese artist. This was personally a massive achievement for Jackson, who identifies strongly with his Asian identity and often would introduce himself as Jackson from China on stage and on TV shows.
What's up, this is Jackson Wang from China.
This promotion of himself as an Asian artist would lead him to work with Asian American label 88 Rising to create collaborations such as the Head in the Clouds Festival, and in 2022, even performing at the massive music festival Coachella. His collaboration with fellow 88 Rising artist Stephanie Potry has been streamed over 57 million times on Spotify, proving that Jackson is able to work with a whole range of artists and create amazing music. Jackson sees himself as an ambassador for Asian culture and told Elle magazine in 2020 that "I'm very proud that I'm Chinese, and I'm proud that I'm Asian. As much as I love learning about other cultures, I love sharing mine, and I hope people can relate and see a body of work in the market." In keeping with his word, Jackson created Pantherpack, a hip-hop group comprised of Wang and 3 other members. The group had their debut in October 2021 with the single Gut Feeling, with an emphasis to promote modern Chinese music culture. With all this success, you might think that Jackson has it all figured out and has it easy. However, the rising star has spoken out several times on his own battle with depression and struggle with mental health issues. Back in April, Jackson told Variety magazine that he almost had a breakdown last year, struggling with anxiety and depression. "It got to a point where I'd been in this industry for 8-9 years, it's always traveling, show after show, programs, commercials, tour, it's almost in a loop. I started to feel lost." The rapper also stated that he had started drinking every day but was still working. Jackson had reached his breaking point, triggered by overworking and feeling inadequate. He eventually was confronted by his friends, team and producers, and told to take a break, recharge, and to come back feeling refreshed and inspired. These words would help Jackson realize that he could be himself and not just play the character of Jackson Wang. This self-realization would allow Jackson to create his Magic Man album, an album which, according to Wang, shows love to who I am as an artist and as a person. The first single of the album, Blow, would again prove that Jackson is an artist who has ascended above the confines of K-pop and can be inspired by a range of musical styles, with the album taking inspiration from pop, hip-hop, R&B, and contemporary Chinese music. More importantly, it is a project that Jackson himself says he is very proud of. 2022 is proving to be a very successful year for Jackson, with the headlining of Coachella, the release of a new solo album, and the recent GOT7 comeback and subsequent new EP. The future looks bright for Jackson Wang.